We closed that. We actually sold it on the first day. We went under contract on the first day on the market for full price. It fell out of contract within the week, and 2 weeks later we sold it again for $25,000 over asking.
Wow.
You're listening to the We Love Equity Real Estate Show, a podcast that discusses the intricacies of real estate investing with your host, Marcus E. Maloney. Marcus is a real estate investor best known for being the equity king. He's been awarded that moniker because he and his team find amazing real estate deals. He will be talking with investors who have done some transformational things in the real estate industry. They'll discuss their process, their strategies, and how their investments transform their lives and the communities they invest in. We welcome you to the We Love Equity Real Estate Show.
Hello, We Love Equity Real Estate family. I am excited today. We have a very special friend here. We're outside of his flip here, in the backyard of his flip here in Phoenix, Arizona. And I wanted to bring him to you today because he has some exciting news. He's actually just getting started, but at the same time, he's not a novice. So today I want to introduce you to KurtMcLaughlin out of Portland, Oregon, who's virtually flipping here in Phoenix, but he's here right now and he wanted to do this podcast and I wanted to have him on the show. So Kurt, welcome to the show.
Oh, thanks a lot, Marcus. Thanks.
Great, man. Glad to have you here. So tell me, how did you get started in real estate?
Oh, real estate. I took a Than Merrill class. Man, it must have been about 5 years ago. I was just starting my construction business and I just couldn't believe it. I'm like, that's not real.
Okay.
How do you find money? Like, I don't have that much money. I can't, I couldn't do that. And, wholesaling, this whole wholesaling business, and who's going to sell their house for 70% of retail value?
Yep.
So it's just one of those things of like, it's just unbelievable. And I was busy. And so why would I take time out of my busy business that, pretty much controlled 180% of my life, to try to make some easy money on real estate where it's just probably not real anyway.
Okay. So you have a contracting background. Before real estate, what were you doing? Were you just doing odds and end jobs, or kind of what did that entail?
I've been in commercial construction for about 30 years, so just 28-ish. So in high school, and I've just never done anything else.
Okay.
So worked my way up through, construction from being a carpenter, from being a laborer to a carpenter, into managing projects, into the office, into eventually starting a construction company, and then getting tired of the headaches of trying to collect money from people who ask you to do stuff but didn't really want to pay for it.
Gotcha. I completely understand. Glad I wasn't in your shoes. I'm kind of handy, but not on a professional level. So you went to this Than Merrill workshop, and it talked about raising money, fixing and flipping, and wholesaling. What was your key takeaway from that?
Man, they had so much good information, really. It was a way for them to sell their $50,000 backpack. How to get a business name, how to start an LLC, how to find some hard money, how to find the deals. I mean, it was definitely an A to Z how to start a business.
Okay.
And I already had the A to M of the business side. So there was a lot of information that was just kind of, I got this. And it wasn't that they gave you all the information. It was definitely teasers here and there. But it definitely piqued my interest of, like, one of the key takeaways from that class I got was all these little bandit signs all over town, right?
Yep.
Drive around, you see those signs, give those guys a call, see if they got any extra houses. And honestly, that's how I got started.
Okay.
So
tell me about, so you went to that Than Merrill workshop 5 years ago. Why did it take you 5 years to execute from the time you went to now?
I'm a serial entrepreneur.
Okay.
I was busy not making another company work at the time. It worked. It was just, I was in that same field I'd always been, just progressively climbing that ladder. And it took that time for me to get burnt out of doing that same thing over and over again, the rinse and repeat, and trying to expect something different. And so finally, kind of 2020 hit, and we had some things change in our business, and it just was kind of a force like, man, what am I going to do now? I really need to make some changes. And I love the way the design side of houses and all the little finishing touches, all the little pieces that come together, seeing those things that most people really can't see.
Okay.
That's my favorite part of it.
Okay. So 5 years, tell me, what was that first deal? What made you finally say, okay, I heard about this 5 years ago. We got this change in our business. Kind of piece together that beginning. How did that first deal look? Where did you get the money? Was it just hard money? Where did you get the down payment for the hard money? Kind of walk us through that for someone that's looking to get started as a fix and flipper.
I belong to a business organization, EO, Entrepreneurs Organization, and in my business group is Ryan from Rain City Capital, which is a hard money lender. Okay. So I asked Ryan if he wanted to go to lunch. I said, buy him a burger. And his personal assistant, who had made the arrangements, forgot to put the date on his calendar.
Oh, wow.
So I'm sitting here waiting for him to show up, and I give him a text. Hey, should I order you something? That 3 minutes, you're not here yet. Let's preemptively make sure everything's happening. And he calls me. Oh, my God. It was perfect because I was, kind of looking for a little guidance, and it's like, man, clearly this is true, but I don't understand money. I don't understand how it works in real estate, and that's probably the biggest, scariest thing I hear people talk about all the time as well. So I did that last year, 2018. Kind of more interested. I heard him talk a little bit about it, and
okay,
he had a flipping business that he basically closed down because he had some bad employees that weren't managing things totally correctly. And so he was kind of in this mid stage of transition of that as well. So I was like, I wanted to hear about that. I hear about, the things that he did wrong, the things that he did right, and where he wanted to go. I'm always interested in learning about that stuff.
Okay.
So he sort of ran me through. He was like, well, let's find a deal. Your ARV is most critical. This is things that I had learned. I kind of knew where those percentages need to be. But he also kind of clued me in on a few of these things that are hidden, these hidden fees, the closing costs that we're paying, your broker's fees, all the little stuff that comes out at closing, and then the cost of the money, the down payment pieces. So the more information I got, the more scared I got about it. And it was like, the more you know, the more you, oh God.
Yeah.
So probably still stuck in that analysis paralysis last year of knowing it's like, there's some money to be made. I feel totally comfortable doing the work. I already have the contacts, but still stuck there on that money side.
Okay.
So basically laid off all the employees first of the year, had a little bit of money to kind of like, okay, what am I going to do? Chatted with my brother about it and said, hey, I have the time now. I think we could make this work. And so our first deal, we found off the RMLS.
Okay.
I made 7 offers on RMLS houses before we closed one.
Okay.
So
you started, during that transition to 2020, which was actually kind of perfect for you guys, not knowing everything that was going to happen this year, laid off all of your employees and said, hey, we're going to do something different. We're going to pivot.
Well, we were going to pivot. So the pivot came, and kind of helped everybody find new places and started to move on. So, and then kind of said, man, I know how to do this. The only thing I'm scared about is the money. What am I so scared about? Let's give it a shot.
Yep.
We were able to get our first deal under contract with a 2-week inspection period. So we really had a way out if we needed one. And then it was, we were able to purchase that deal because we came in with a good price. It had some value adds that needed to happen. I mean, it had.
Well, let's talk about the numbers, Kurt. What was the numbers on it, and we can kind of dig into it.
That deal was, we had an expected ARV of, I think, 380.
Okay.
So, and then it had it needed completely gone through. It hadn't been touched since it was built in the 50s. But it had a bedroom downstairs in the daylight basement.
Okay.
And it had a kitchen put into it and a bathroom. Now, they were discombobulated. They'd clearly been kind of muddled through when they installed them. But it was in a small town outside of Portland, St. Helens. And their city, the way the permit office is very unorganized. So everything was grandfathered in. We didn't know if anything 10 years older, we don't know if it had a permit or not. So it was grandfathered in. I did a little due diligence for that. Everything was going to be great, so it was going to be fine. So we were actually going to be able to convert that mother-in-law quarters downstairs actually into a ADU with a $80 permit.
Okay.
So
what's an ADU?
The accessory dwelling unit. So the Airbnb.
Okay, gotcha.
Permittable Airbnb.
Okay.
Right. So so that got us kind of on this trend. So we put it in an offer. This property had fell out of contract twice, both times during inspection.
Okay.
So it was an older gentleman who really was moving in with his family.
Okay, so you found a motivated seller, pretty much.
So we made an offer. They made a counter that was too high. We actually recountered back up to kind of the end of my limits, but we also took all the contingencies away.
Okay.
We said, all cash, close in 2 weeks, no inspections.
No inspections.
And I had already seen the property. I have a bit of experience. So I was already able to do the due diligence on the permitting. So I knew we were going to be able to add some value on top of that as well.
Okay.
So,
so 385 was the
that was our
ARV.
ARV.
Purchase price was?
So they came back to us. I think during the midst of our negotiations back and forth, they got a full price offer at 235 or 240.
Okay, so you got some room there. You got about
They had a full price offer at 240. We were at 215.
Okay.
216. And we had no contingencies closed in 2 weeks. They came back to us and said, we got a full price offer, all the inspections, we kind of don't want to go through any of that. Can you close in a week? We said, absolutely. And then it took them 2.5 weeks to close because there was some issues with title that they had to work through on their side, but we were good to go.
Okay.
So it was a hard money deal. We used Rain City Capital. It was our first hard money deal with them. I was able to scrounge up between some cash that I had and family money. I borrowed some money from my mom and actually partnered with my brother to put together about 80 grand to put into that deal to do the down payment and then also fund the rehab.
The rehab. Okay.
We actually funded the rehab through the hard money lender, but we had to have the money to pay up front to pay our contractors.
Okay.
So it was a
reimbursement. Okay.
Yeah.
So just to kind of go back through, ARV 385, purchased it for around 215, 220-ish.
216, yeah.
Okay. And brought 80 grand to the table.
Brought 80 grand to the table to get the deal done, yeah.
Okay. So how long did it take you on that deal to get it, to get the rehab done and everything like that?
Closed the deal. Actually, I was in Hawaii when we signed on actually everything closed. And then it was 3 months and a week.
Okay.
To put it on the market again.
Okay. So 90 days, 100 days,
Yep. Yeah.
100 days to turn it and everything like that. So you got 80 invested into it out of pocket outside of, what the hard money lender financed. What did you net after all closing costs and fees and things
So
like
we closed that. We actually sold it on the first day. We went under contract on the first day on the market for full price. It fell out of contract within the week. And 2 weeks later, we sold it again for $25,000 over asking.
Wow. Okay.
So we ended up with about 90 in it, so 216 plus the so we're into it for about 310.
Okay.
So we had about $24,000, $25,000 in broker fees and closing costs. So I think right around 60 grand was our net profit on that, or our gross profit. So yeah.
All right. So you made 60 grand on your first deal. How nervous were you doing that deal?
I was not nervous at all.
Okay. Okay. Why? Because of your construction background?
Construction background, the strength of the housing market right now, especially.
Okay.
Once we got over the hurdle of getting some money, getting some hard money on the table, that was really the nervousness for me.
Okay. So we're 12 months. This is December. You got started in January, right?
February. That first deal was, we signed March 28th. We closed on that property to purchase it.
Purchase it.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're
9 months in.
9 months in.
Yeah.
And in those 9 months, how many deals have you closed?
We have our fourth flip closing next week.
Okay. So the fourth closing next week, plus you have this one you're about to put on the market.
This one goes on the market next week.
Okay, this one goes on the market next week. Yeah. Plus you have a 4-unit
Plus we were able to buy
bought.
a 4-plex with the proceeds from that house in St. Helens, yeah.
Okay, so that 80 grand that you put up front got you through 6 deals pretty much.
So we were able to, the 80 grand, so we scrounged together another 80 grand between my brother and myself, borrowing some money from family, getting together.
I need to borrow some money, Kurt. You can come up with 80 grand real easy.
Let me tell you. Let me show you a picture of my checking account the last 3 months. So when McDonald's declines your debit card, It was a rough day.
And you know what? People don't talk about that, Kurt.
Oh my
You know,
gosh.
they think once you get into real estate investing, that everything is going to be peaches and cream. You know, you put up 80 grand. Yeah, I made 60 grand off of that 80 grand, and now I'm going into more and more flips. But they don't know the struggle in between.
Oh man.
So kind of tell us about that, man. You said McDonald's declined your debit card, huh?
It's a daily hassle. I mean, it's like an addiction, right? So we closed that first deal in March. We bought our next deal in May. At the same time, the same day, we bought, it was a 1-bedroom, 1-bath, not a single closet in it.
Okay, now that sounds interesting.
This was
1-bedroom, 1-bath, no closet.
No closets. No closets anywhere in the entire house. It was on a beautiful, tiny little lot. The lot looked huge because the house was so small.
What was the square? I mean, that house had to be what, 700?
Under 600 square feet.
600 square feet. Now, guys, let me tell you this. Most investors would shy away from that because your buyer pool will be so small on buying a 1-bedroom, 1-bath house. But you took the chance. You said, hey, the housing market is real strong.
Very strong. Yeah.
Let's go ahead and do it. So how fast were you in and out of that one?
So we were in and out of that one in just over 5 weeks.
Okay, because it's so small.
So small. It was so small. So actually hired out, subcontracted the entire thing. So we had them took out a wall, kind of a kitchen. The wall that was actually only cabinets.
Really?
It was cabinets on one side, and it had shiplap on the other. That was the dividing wall. So take that all out, redo all the floors, and put new kitchen countertops, cabinets and countertops in.
Okay.
Painted inside and out. It was a horrid green fence. I mean, the whole property was fenced, and it was painted, not forest green, but kind of chartreuse forest green. I think we could have just repainted the fence and sold it again.
Really?
Oh my gosh, it was horrible. So we bought that house for $210. We sold that house first weekend for $300. That house fell out of contract within the week. We sold it again for $325 2 weeks later.
Wow. So let's talk about that, because a lot of people would be, I know when I have a property that falls out of contract, man, it's like the earth just shatters. Everything goes crazy. So how did you feel? Because a lot of people don't talk about this. When that fell out of contract, how did you feel?
First of all, these houses are my babies. Like, the thing I love about real estate is how they look when I'm done. Like, we don't change carpet and paint walls. You know, we make these houses the way they were supposed to be built from the beginning. And it doesn't cost, you know, that's not the most cost-effective way to flip homes, but it's how we get joy out of
doing what you do.
Doing what we do in real estate. So these things are pride and joy. So when people critique them, you know, we get these home inspections, and these home inspectors honestly critique things that they have never had a part of in their life, are telling you that, you know, this is wrong and that's wrong. It's like, you know, it's like tugging on your heart, like pulling little pieces out. Like, oh my God, that's my baby. So that's the biggest piece of it. But again, the housing market's strong. You know, we know we're priced at the very top of our market. Every house we've sold, we've set the price in the neighborhood. Okay. So, you know, kind of falling back on, we know we have a good product. We don't have to sell the house tomorrow.
Right.
I mean, I got another debit card, so hopefully McDonald's will take that one.
McDonald's will be all right. You just give them a different card.
We got a closet full of top ramen. I'm set. My mom lives close, you know, so
Yep.
You know, so it's a little devastating, but you kind of choke that back and you hold it in a little bit, and you say, we're going to get back on the market. We're going to make sure we've done everything we can do and find the right buyer.
So how did that first offer at 300 fall out, and then you found another buyer at 325? Did you have it priced at 325, or did it become a bidding war?
It became a bidding war. So
for
we had a
1-bedroom, 1-bath house.
1-bedroom, 1-bath house. This is true. To be fair, this is the only house on the same block as the park, Cathedral Park in Portland, in St. John's. It's a beautiful area. The house was built in 1900, 1905, 1907.
Okay.
Someone put a foundation underneath of it. They did some plumbing repairs, and they weren't top notch. They were probably 20 years old, so we didn't do much with them. They worked well, so we actually brought a plumber in and went through and spent about $1,000 just to clean it up and make it look good and resupport. So that was one of the things that came out of that home inspection. That one of the reasons the first buyer backed out.
Backed out.
Yeah.
Okay. So it was the plumbing.
There was a few things, but that was kind of the big piece of it.
Okay.
Yeah, that was their big skew.
Because normally once you have one thing on an inspection, then they start looking at everything and they're like, well, no, I don't want this house anymore. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
So these were in Portland. So why did you decide to come here to Phoenix to start doing what you're doing? Because you were having some success in Portland.
I'm not sure if all your viewers can see, but it's December and it's 80 degrees.
Yep. So it's beautiful weather.
It is beautiful weather. Oh my gosh. So we found this property here with the pool this summer. So it was our fourth purchase. So,
okay. So before we dive into this one, all right, let's hear a brief word from our sponsors. We'll come back with Kurt and we'll talk about this property here in Phoenix. We'll get into the numbers on this one, what they're doing. And if you haven't noticed, he has the stagers walking back and forth doing some staging because they're about to get this one on the market. So let's take a brief break and we'll come right back.
PropStream is the industry's #1 tool for locating distressed properties and connecting with highly motivated sellers. With 100% coverage across the U.S., PropStream provides a deep dive into any property's specific details, making it easy to generate lists of distressed properties and contact to the owners. No other product or service can compare. Gain access to MLS property details like expired listings. You can pull accurate comps, even sale prices in non-disclosure states. This information is typically reserved for licensed real estate professionals, but it is also available to you in PropStream. Gain access to unlimited nationwide property search, comparable home sales, targeted marketing lists, and owner contact lookup, built-in marketing tools, hundreds of filters to search and sort leads. Start your free 7-day trial now by going to proud.propstreampro.com/WeLoveEquity.
All right. So we're back with KurtMcLaughlin out of Portland, Oregon, but we're here in the sunny state of Arizona. He is a fix and flipper, just got started in February. This is now December, so 10 months in, he's done 6 deals total, and he have a flip that's closing
the 20th.
And then he has this one that's about to go on the market. So tell me about this one here, Kurt. How did you find this one? And first of all, why did you decide to come to Phoenix? I know you said the weather, but what about the real estate market?
No, the real estate market, very similar to Portland. The housing prices are good. Actually, the tax rate here is phenomenal, and it's very business friendly. So that was a very specific reason why we didn't just head straight west. I headed west and a bit east.
Okay.
I'd love to be on the coast of California.
Price points are ridiculous.
The price, I don't mind the price as much. As long as the profit margins are there, I'm okay with that. But the taxes and all of the stuff, the hoops you have to jump through.
Bureaucracy.
The bureaucracy there is just too much. It was more than I cared to deal with. So
okay.
Maybe someday, but for now.
Okay. So it's true that your brother moved here from Portland, correct?
Correct. So he lived in Southern Oregon. So he moved here just a little over a year and a half ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then did he give you the insight on the market and say, hey, Kurt, we might need to do something here?
He was super interested in getting into real estate as well and doing some investing, finding some rentals, maybe a little business, something on the side. So we sort of talked about that. They bought a house recently, and we're also watching the market the same way, going, wow, there's some pretty good deals right now. There's some houses that are really selling. There's a real shortage of inventory. So that's all good things for flippers.
Okay.
So what we did learn was that it gets really hot in the summer.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we're in the desert, so it gets 120 degrees plus in the summer. And even like now, it's 80 degrees, but then at night it'll drop down to 40. So it's a drastic change. So how did you find this deal here?
So this is my classic style. I like to drive around and find nice neighborhoods, and those little signs up on the street corners, they have that says, if we buy ugly houses, that's everyone I see, I call, I say, hey, you got any extra houses? What do you got? I get on your list. So this came from a wholesaler here. Actually, they're a national wholesaler. We work with them in Portland as well. Actually, we work with them in North Carolina on top of that. So they brought this deal to us, said, hey, we got this one. Here's the numbers. What do you think? You got about 6 hours to decide.
Okay, gotcha. So what was the numbers here on this?
So this one, the ARV was supposed to be around the 540 mark. So we ended up paying $370. It had a $75,000 rehab.
Okay.
So.
All right, so pretty good numbers. And the work that was done here, as you can see, nice pool, really, really nice property. Guys, I wish I could take you through it, but maybe next time. So the majority of the work here, first of all, when did you close on this, and how long has it been since you've been carrying it?
So this one we closed in like the 1st of July.
Okay.
So around there. So I was tied up in Portland, trying to wrap up some projects up there. So we were a little bit slow. And this is where we learned some lessons about, how much money we have tied up in different places. That definitely has been our constraint.
Okay.
Of just how we are using our hard money lending and how we're financing the rehabs versus not financing them and funding them ourselves. So.
Okay.
And just getting better rates. The more we do, the more the lenders want to work with us, and the better rates we're getting, sub 8, on hard money. So with 10% down.
Okay. And then is this the same lender that lent to you in Portland, or is this a different lender?
So we used 3 different lenders. This is 212. So they're affiliated with the wholesaler that sold us the property.
Okay.
So we've done 3 deals with them.
Okay.
We've done 4 deals with them. This is our 3rd deal we did with them.
And what wholesale company is it?
It's called 212.
212.
212 Lending, yeah.
Okay, gotcha. So what did you learn on this property?
So this is back into a different state. Here we are, satellite flipping. Finding contractors, finding quality contractors, and it's been kind of a hassle of finding some guys that say they can do the work. You're checking on the guys. You're getting inspections, and then some of the work quality is amazing, and others of it is lackluster. And so really not paying until we have a complete job, collecting 1099s, getting all the paperwork piece, are you licensed? Do you have everything together? Sort of that rigmarole of that actual just business side of it was the biggest pain in the butt.
So now, did you have to do that, or did your brother that's here find the contractors and make sure they give you the 1099s and everything like that?
So we worked together. He was able to find several contractors just by asking around, asking the wholesaler, asking other flippers, and sort of, going to Home Depot and saying, hey, I need someone to paint, I need someone to do tile. So there's good resources. Also, Craigslist and finding people to do like our quartz countertops, like we needed to install, and get 2 or 3 people, it's about this much, get some pricing over the phone, see how far out there, get a good feel for what kind of quality they can do.
Okay.
But then, making sure we finish before we pay.
Yeah.
And then inspecting the work, and oftentimes we get, can you pay us in cash? I'd love to pay you in cash. I still got to get a 1099, and I'm still going to send you the tax stuff,
IRS is definitely going to make sure they get their money, because if you don't, then they're going to come after you.
That's right.
So you'll be paying taxes on money that you gave away.
Right.
So, okay. Well, Kurt, man, thank you for allowing us to come out and do this interview with you. What's next? What do you see that's coming up next on M&M's radar?
We have some big goals for next year. We want to do 24 flips. So we're also looking to purchase an additional 12 doors. But exciting for me is some coaching, actually, some flipping, coaching, and getting some other people involved. I love seeing people grow and, lighting their fire and seeing that stuff happen. So that's probably the most exciting. The thing I'm most excited for next year.
Okay. So now you said you want to do 24 deals, so a deal a month next year. Plus you want to purchase 15 doors or so.
Another 12.
Another 12?
Yeah, so 4 plexes to 12 plexes.
Okay. All right. So if wholesalers want to get in contact with you, or people want to get in contact with you, how can they reach you? That way, if they have a deal, they can make sure that you get it?
Yeah, in Portland Metro, and Phoenix Metro, and North Carolina, and down in Louisiana now. We're just starting to move into there. It's Kurt, K-U-R-T, at Kurt, K-U-R-T, McLaughlin, McLaughlin.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Kurt at KurtMcLaughlin.com. You can reach out to Kurt. You can find him. Any social media handles, anything like that?
It's Kurt M333. So
Kurt M333. That's at Facebook.
That's Facebook, and on Instagram, it's Kurt McLaughlin Coaching.
Okay. All right, guys. So you know how to get in contact with Kurt. You can reach out to him. You can see that he's really out here doing these businesses. We're not just talking, but we're out here doing. So, Kurt, I really appreciate it, man. Thank you. I know you're going to keep. Thank you for listening to today's show. I picked up some great actionable items, and I'm sure you did as well. If so, let me know. You can always reach me via social media at facebook.com/MRCSMaloney, Twitter at MRCSMaloney, and of course, IG at MRCSMaloney. You can also always reach me via email at mmaloney@equityri.com. Make sure you reach out to our guests as well. You can always find their contact information in the show notes below. If you have not subscribed already, what are you waiting for? Join the family. And while you're at it, leave us a 5-star review. This is how we tell if we're providing you with what you need for your journey. If there's someone you would like for me to interview, or if there's a subject matter you would like for me to cover, please let me know. Finally, if you're looking for additional information about real estate investing, go to equityrealestateblog.com. Also, youtube.com/MarcusMaloney. Until next time, family, always enjoy the journey.